Good morning, guys, and welcome to STEM Digital School. My name is Waitumelo, and I'm going to be your presenter for social sciences. Today, we are doing history this week, and our topic is about the first farmers' attitude towards land. Yesterday, we learned about who were the first farmers. So, guys, would you please tell me the things we learned about yesterday? Let's just do a quick recap on the things we learned about yesterday, about who were the first farmers. The things we did yesterday on who were the first farmers of South Africa. Okay, it seems like people are not yet here. All right, I'm gonna remind you guys a little bit about yesterday's lesson. We talked about the first farmers, that they arrived in South Africa 200 years ago, and they lived in one place, okay? They settled in one land, okay? And they kept livestock, and then they also did farming, okay? Unlike the Khoisan people. Are we clear? Who wants to add more on the things that we learned about yesterday? Any participant? Anyone? Okay, let's move to our lesson for today. So who can tell me, when we talk about attitude towards land, what comes to your mind when I say the first farmer's attitude towards land? What really comes to your mind? The first farmer's attitude towards land, what really comes to your mind? Are you guys on strike today? You don't want to talk? Okay, let's move. You are going to find out as the lesson continues. So, guys, the things that you need to know about this lesson are four. First, you're going to learn about the attitude of farmers towards land. And then by the end of this lesson, you should know how the first farmers brought about change in South African farming. Okay, you should know that. And also, it's a discussion lesson, so we need to discuss, people, okay? And we'll be learning about new ways of farming. Are we clear? Let's move. Our content. In this module, you will find answers to the following key questions. Who were the first farmers in South Africa? We did them yesterday. I've already told you who were the first farmers of South Africa, that they were the Nguni speaking people. We learned about that yesterday. And then we'll also find out about what were their attitude towards land. So today our topic will focus on their attitude towards land. And then number three, tomorrow we will learn about how did they interact with the Khoisan people, okay? How did they interact with the Khoisan people? And then what was the early African farmers' way of life? Okay, so we are also going to look at how they live their lives, okay? And then we look at what were their homestead and villages like. So where they were staying, how was the situation? How was it like? How were they organized? Okay. And then we'll also look at what crops and livestock did they farm. So the entire topic will be based on these things. So please stay tuned and attend every day, okay? And then the last one is how their societies are structured, okay? Based on chiefdoms and all those things. So you should attend every day. The San and the Khoikhoi believed land was for everyone to use. Land was something that people shared. Okay, so according to the Khoisan, not the first farmers, the Khoisan and the Khoikhoi believed that land was for everyone. Okay, was for everyone to use. Okay, and it was something that it should be shared. Nobody must own the land. Okay, so as for farmers, farmers stayed in one place for a long time. They began to think that they owned the land. Okay, unlike the Khoisan and the Khoikhoi, farmers believe that people should own the land. Okay, we should own the land and say this is our land. Unlike the Khoi and the thingy. Okay, so in farming communities, the chief controlled some of the land. The chief controlled some of the land. The chief usually gave only land for growing crops to married men. So in the first farmers community, the chief will be the one controlling the land and will also be the one distributing it. And it will give the land for growing crops only to married men. So if you were not married, you were not given a land. So you should be married and have a family, okay? Land for animals was free for everybody to use. So if you were heading animals such as cows, donkeys, the land was free. Even now here in South Africa, the land is always free for animals to go eat, okay? So people could not buy or sell land as well. So you were not allowed to buy or to sell land during that time. Okay, the chief was the one in charge. The chief was the one giving the land, all right? So here we are going to look at the attitude towards land. So on this picture here, you are seeing the first farmers. These are the first South African farmers, okay? This is where they are staying. Number one, you need land to be able to farm, okay? So the first farmers, in order for them to farm, they needed what? They needed land, okay? As you can see here, these women here are farming. So they needed land to farm, okay? Number two, early African farmers moved to land that had fertile soil, grazing, and water. So the early African farmers could not just move to any place where they feel like moving. No, they were to look for a place that was fertile, okay, so they can grow their crops properly, okay, and a place where there was water. You get my point? Number three, the farmers lived in communities called chiefdom. So their communities were called chiefdom. You should know that. Their communities were called chiefdoms, okay? And they were ruled by chiefs. Land belonged to the community, but individuals were given rights to use it. So the whole land belonged to the community, okay? if we were the first farmers in this class, we will belong to, the land will belong to us, but we should be given rights to use it. You cannot just say, okay, now I want to go stay there. No, you should be given authority. Okay, you were to be given rights so that you can use the land, even though it belongs to everyone, but you needed to be granted authority to do so. So the chiefs, with advice from his headman, gave out the land and took it back. So the chief had his headman to advise him, okay? And then they were the one giving the land and taking it back. So if you were misusing the land, they were to take it back, okay? And if you needed land and you are a married man and now you want to have your own space, you were to go to the chief and then they will give you the land. But if you misuse it, they were gonna take it back, obviously, okay? Although everyone had rights to the land, some people had more or better land than others. So the chiefs were not fair, okay? Some people got better land and some didn't get better land. So it depends on who you were, okay, to get a better land. So in short, you needed connections, actually, when I look at things, to get better land, okay? Because the land was not distributed fairly, okay, and equal. Okay, here is our class activity. We are talking about land still. I want you guys to mention 3 things farmers looked for when they move into the land, okay? The things that they looked for when they settled in a land. What were they looking for? Malakiu?
Teacher, what page is it on, ma'am?
Come again?
What page is it on?
Oh, the page. I'm not really sure. Which textbook are you using?
I'm using Platinum.
Platinum. No, I don't have Platinum. I'm not using Platinum.
Okay, ma'am.
Do you know the answer?
Okay, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. Amanda?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I wanted to say that the 3 things that they were looking for was, first, they were looking for grass for their cattle, and they were
Yes.
also looking for food and stuff to make tools and weapons.
Yes.
And they also looked for sticks.
They also looked for sticks, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, ma'am.
On the group chat, we have Ntando says they look for plants. Okay, and then Koketo says they looked for water, they look for soil. So these people, in short, they looked for a fertile place, okay, where they can grow their crops, okay. They looked for a place where it has water, enough water, so that they can do what? They can water their thing, okay. So let's move to the second question. Who was the person in charge of the land? Who was the person in charge of the land. Amanda, your hand is up. Okay, we have Slengiwe.
The chief.
Come again.
The chief.
The chief was the one in charge of the land. That is correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Malakiu, your hand is up.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm reading something, ma'am.
Okay.
So, ma'am, it says, they were called farmers because unkind were coarsen. They grew crops. They were not numeric, but they settled in large groups.
Yes.
And they, and then it says, African farmers grew crops that needed sun, summer rainfall in order to grow. They settled on land that had enough rainfall in summer for their crops to grow.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Malakiu. We have Amanda Leletu.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, how are you?
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm okay.
I'm answer number 2, ma'am.
Okay, yes, answer it.
The person who was in charge of the land was the chief. ma'am.
It was the chief, right? That is correct, Leletu. Thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much. Amanda?
Ma'am,
Yes, how are you?
I'm okay, and you, ma'am?
I'm good.
Ma'am, I have a page on my textbook which shows the attitude to the first farmers.
Okay.
So it says that the first farmers' attitude to the land. At first, the farmers stayed close to the sea. They ate shellfish and grew some crops. They used seaweed and ground up shells to fertilize the plots where they grew crops. When the farmers moved inland, they started to change the environment they lived in. They chopped down trees and tall grasses. They burned the trees and grasses they had chopped down and used the ash as fertilizer. This system is
Yes.
called slash and burn. On the cleared land, the farmers built villages. They also marked out plots of land to grow crops. They built walls to enclose their sheep, goats, and cattle so that they were safe from wild animals. The farmers stayed in the same area for a long time so that their crops could grow, but sometimes farmers had to move to new areas because the land became overgrazed.
Yes, yes, yes. Is that all? Which
Yes,
textbook
ma'am.
are you using? It has a clear background of who were the African farmers, their attitude to land.
Ma'am, it's our world, our society.
Our world, our society textbook.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try to download it now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for the extra information. Did you guys hear her? Yes, thank you very much, Amanda. Okay, on the group chat, we have Kutlwano. Kutlwano says it is the chief. Yes, that's correct. Leletu says the chief. Ntando also says it is the chief. Bunono says it is the chief. Desedi also says that. Amanda also says that. Thank you guys for your input. We have Malakiu on the participant.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Are we reading about the first farmers in Southern Africa?
Come again?
Are we reading about the first farmers in Southern Africa?
Yes, we are reading about the first farmers in South Africa.
It says here, in topic 2, you learned about the Sand and Khoikhoi.
Yes.
Around 250 AD, new groups of African people slowly moved south and settled in Southern Africa. They were farmers who had a very different lifestyle to San and Khoikhois. These
Yes.
African farmers grew crops and kept cattle. They lived in settled villages and spoke Bantu languages.
Yes.
The
And they spoke.
first para means many and Latu means person. So the word Bantu means people. Bantu language include Zulu, Sitkosa, Sutu, Spedi, Setswana, and Xhosa.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
that is true. We did that yesterday. Thank you very much. Were you in class yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, Malakiu, for reminding us
Ma'am?
of the. Yes,
Ma'am, you pronounce my name like this, Malik.
Malik. Okay, thank you, Malik.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharp. Okay, more answers. Okay, thank you guys for your answers. You are all correct. I see you've written chiefs on the group chat. Okay, number 3. Was the land equally distributed in a community? Explain your answer. Was the land equally distributed in a community? Explain your answer. Was it equally distributed in the community? Explain your answer. Malik?
Ma'am, it's fine, ma'am. I just forgot to put my hand down.
Okay, thank you. Sheng.
So it was distributed between the married people.
It was what?
Between the married people.
It was distributed for married people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's correct. Sheng, thank you very much. Manda?
Ma'am,
Yes?
the land was equally distributed, but some of the San and the Khoikhoi, they didn't understand each other, and also the farmers understood the Khoi, but then it was all shared, but then not really did every community like them.
Yes, that's true. Amanda, thank you very much, Moike.
Yes, ma'am.
Who else? Okay, in adding to the answers that you guys have given, the land was not really equally distributed because some other people got fertile land and some didn't, okay? So the chief was the one deciding on who should get a fertile land and who should not. So sometimes it wasn't equally distributed. And then what about those people who are not married? So they were only giving it to married people, married men actually. So it doesn't show equality there as well, okay? So that's the reason why it wasn't equally distributed. Who wants to add more input? On the group chat, Koketo says it was shared with people who are married. Yes, it was shared with people who are married, okay. In another way, it wasn't equally distributed. Everyone has a right to get the land, okay? So the land belongs to everyone, so everybody should get land, regardless of whether you're married or not, okay? Let's move. Who can tell me what are you seeing on the picture? I want somebody to tell me what they are seeing on the picture. Explain the whole picture. You tell us about the picture. On the attitudes towards land. For the first farmers, we have Amanda.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what I can see on the picture is that there's behind the cattle, there's grassland there, and
Yes.
also two boys that are looking after the cows, and the cows are drinking water by the pond.
Yes.
And then there's also like a wooden protector gate there, and there are two children behind the mother making some food. Then there's a girl here that is grinding some wheat, and there are also huts next to each other.
They also had next to each other. Yes, that's correct. Can I ask you more questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, by looking at their crops there, do you think the land was fertile?
Yes.
It was fertile, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who else wants to tell us the things they are seeing on the picture? Okay, nobody home. All right. So when hunters gatherers and headers live entirely off the land, they make sure they look after their environment very well. So that the resources they needed will be there for them year after year. Okay. So this picture shows that the African farmers took care of their land, okay, so that everything could be okay. So they took only much land as they needed. So here it shows that African farmers will take as much land as they need, okay, in order to grow their crops, in order to build their huts where they will live, in order for their animals to be free and move around. So they took as much land as they needed, okay? Did not waste the food they gathered or hunted. So African farmers, they did not waste the food they gathered and hunted, okay? So they took care of their food, unlike us. If we eat something and then we have leftovers, we are going to throw it. No, as for the hunters, the African farmers, they did not do such a thing, okay? They will save each and every food that they have. They put their used bones and shells on rubbish heaps, okay? They put their bones and shell on rubbish pits. They also showed respect towards the plants, animals, and land. As you can see, the boys here are not, the boys here are taking care of the animals. Shows that they respect the animals, okay? And then as you can see, their land here, it is very clean. There are no papers around, which means they respected their land, okay? They took care of their land. Okay, here with me, I have a picture. Who wants to read it for me? Who can read number one for us? Neo.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm okay. And yourself?
I'm fine, ma'am.
Please read
Number
number 1.
Number one, farmers lived in one place for several years.
Okay,
Number
stop.
two,
Wait. Farmers lived in one place for several years. As you can see here, these shows a permanent place. So they live in such houses for many years. They were not moving around. Read number 2.
farmers built more permanent settlements than the Khoikhoi had built.
Yes, as we have said yesterday, that the Khoikhoi were nomadic people. They will move around, okay, from one place to another, okay, in hunting and looking for food. So, as for African farmers, they build more permanent settlement. As you can see here, they are building. This shows that they are here to stay and they are not going anywhere, okay? Yes?
3. At night, they kept animals in cattle corrals.
You can see the animals here. Let me put my pointer. Here, this is where they keep their animals at night, okay? During the day, they will let their animals go around to eat grass, drink water, wherever. But at night, they were going to to go and fetch their cattle and put them in the cattle kraals, okay? Number 4.
Number 4. The chief gave people land to make fields and grow crops.
Yes, the chief gave people land to make fields and grow crops. As you can see on the picture here, these women and the men, they are growing crops. This is the land that they've been given by the chief to grow crops, okay? To grow crops.
Number 5.
5.
Different farmers' animals graze together.
Come again?
Different farmers' animals grazed together.
Yes, different farmers, animals graze together. So the African farmers also used animals to graze, okay? Used animals to clear the land, okay? So animals were also used for grazing, okay? Number 6.
Number 6. Farmers used iron tools for clearing and digging the land.
Yes, farmers used iron tools which they have made to clear and digging the land, okay? So in order for them to farm, they had to have iron tools, okay? To make things easier for them to farm their crops. Okay, let's move. Thank you very much, my boy.
Well, you're very welcome, ma'am.
The difference between the farmers and the Khoikhoi and the Khoisan or the Khoikhoi. The Khoisan adapted to the land as it was. So the Khoisan adapted to the land as it was and did not change it permanently. So as they were moving around, they did not go around and building houses, starting to farm and having cattle. No, they adapted to the land the way it was, okay? They did not even try to change the land. So, but as for the African farmers, they looked for areas where there was fertile soil and good grazing land, okay? So meaning when they find a fertile soil and a good grazing land, they will do what? They will change it, okay? They will clear the land and then they will start planting. Guys, I want you to write down 2 ways you think farming changed the environment. 2 ways you think farming changed the environment. How did the farmers change the environment? You can tell me one if you have one. Okay, who are we having? Okay, yes, we have a participant. Matthew. Okay. Matthew.
Ma'am, the heading says right 2 ways you think farmers change the environment. I think that the farmers change the environment by crops, by cattle, by everything that we don't have. Like some of us, we lazy. We don't have money, so we need to. Like some of us are farmers, so that we don't go buy stuff. We can just grow crops, but we just need to get seeds and then we grow crops. And yeah, that's what I think that the farmers changed.
Thank you very much, Miguel. We have Neo. Neo. Okay, sing away. Sing away.
They change their environment and build house and grow crops.
Yes, they change the environment by building house. Thank you, Sengiwa. Amanda.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I said that the first thing that they also changed the environment was by chopping down the trees, and there was no carbon dioxide now.
Yes, they chopped down the trees. They cleared the land. Yes.
And they also build houses and also build forests for the cattle.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Amanda.
Yes, ma'am.
Leletu. Yes.
I say what they changed them by number one was by planting the crops, and number two they were chopping trees, and they built house, man. They built their own house, man.
Yes, you said what? They chopped it.
They planted crops.
Yes, they planted crops.
They chopped and they built their houses.
And they built their houses.
Man.
Yes, that's correct, Leletu. Thank you very much. Okay, on the group chat, Amanda already has said, Nintendo says by planting the crops. Yes, that's correct. That's how they change the environment. Explain how the Khoisan people's attitude to land was different from the farmers. Now you need to give me the differences between the Khoisan and the farmers' attitude towards the land. Amanda?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm going to tell my differences between both of them. So then,
okay.
The Khoi were what we call herders. On the other side, the farmers were, farmers.
Yes.
Then also the Khoi mean that they owned cattle and sheep, but then the farmers, they didn't own, they actually shared. They
Come
would also,
again?
the Khoikhoi also owned cattle and sheep, but
Yes.
on the other side, the farmers actually didn't own, they actually shared.
No, my girl. The Khoisan did not own sheep. They were hunters. They go around hunting. Okay, they did not stay in one place, so it wasn't possible for them to own cattle. Okay, continue.
They would also move from place to place.
The Khoi.
The Khoi, man.
All right.
Place, but the farmers would just look for grazing land that is perfect for fertile, and they would plant there and stayed until the fertile soil was overgrazed.
Yes, that's true. Thank you, Amanda.
Yes, ma'am.
Shangiwe.
Farmers own the land and Khoisan were moving around the land.
Yes, that's true. Thank you very much, Shangi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, on the group chat, Ntando says, the Khoisan, they never moved around. They stayed in one place. The farmers moved around looking for a fertile place. Okay, Ntando, my girl, let me explain it to you. The Khoisan were the one moving around, okay? They did not stay in one place, and the farmers wanted to settle in a permanent place, okay? And then the Khoisan also believed that land was for everyone and that land should not be shared, okay? But as for the farmers, they controlled the land, unlike the Khoisan people, okay? I hope I was clear, guys.
Yes.
Okay. The attitude to land these days, it is that today many people no longer show the same respect for our environment as the farmers and the Khoisan were showing respect to our land because they kept it clean all the time, okay? But these days people do no longer show respect to our land. Many people around the world, they throw rubbish off boats into the sea, okay? So people throw rubbish in our sea and then they let their used paper and plastic blow around and make a mess. This is how things are these days, okay? People around the world do not throw their papers into litter bins or packages, okay? They just litter everywhere they go. Pump poison into river and sea. So people these days pump poison into the river and sea, which is not good. It will affect the animals that live in the water. So, and people around the world do not realize that every day the world gets fuller and fuller of rubbish, such as plastic, paper, chemicals. So guys, we need to learn from the farmers, okay? And take care of our land, all right? We should not be like people from these days, people who don't care about the land. So we need to learn from the farmers, okay? And take care of our land. Keep our land clean, okay? We should not throw around papers, all right? So tomorrow we'll be learning about how the first farmers interacted with the Khoisan people. You should go read about that, okay? How did they interacted with the Khoisan people, their relationship between the two. Okay, right, guys? We have reached the end of our lesson. You should enjoy your day, stay sanitized, I love you all. Bye.